Good morning, everybody, or should I say, afternoon, everybody. Well, I haven't talked to everybody since. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. Almost like I had a bug fly down my throat or something. Allergy attack almost. I didn't go any further. It's all good now. Okay. Anyway, doing this on YouTube. Today I missed the third agreement or the second agreement the other day. So what I will do is you guys can go and watch it. I'm not going to redo it again for YouTube. I'm not going to do it. It takes too long to read it. But if you go over to my Facebook account, look me up, Kenneth Bevard, then you can watch my live Facebook feeds. It's where I get on there with all of my family and friends, and I read this book. We discuss the book as we go along, and my blogs or my Bevard blogs or whatever will just get a little more in depth a little later on when I get a little more used to all this stuff. This is just new to me. Back in the day, I have a computer and shit like this, man. Nothing like this. So now we're just here and we're reading a book called The Four Agreements, in case you've never joined us before. Today we're starting the third agreement, which is chapter 4. Okay, it's called Don't Make Assumptions. The book, once again, is called The Four Agreements, and it is a practical guide to personal freedom, a Toltec wisdom book by Don Miguel Ruiz. There are already copies of it on YouTube and stuff other people have read. These are probably copies of the book itself, or you can just go read it online. But that's not what we're doing here. Here we just like talking about it ourselves and kind of responding as we go along. I can't get the YouTube live thing to work for me right, so all I'm doing is I'm recording it and I'm going to upload it later for you guys. I'm at 7% right now, so I better get on this right now before my phone makes me run out of time. Okay, I have to stop and restart that right there. Let's just get on it, man. I got started a little late today, simply for the reason that I believe and I feel that most of my viewers, most of my friends, most of my family would rather get a chance in the afternoon to sit down and watch this than getting up early in the morning and watching it when they have other things to do. I know everybody has their life that they're living, and so you have more important things to do than just sitting on here listening to me read a book and discuss things on here. But we're going to get started on it right now. I don't want my time to run out on my YouTube video. We're on chapter 4, the third agreement, don't make assumptions. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. We have the tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We could swear they are real. We make assumptions about what others are doing or thinking. We take it personally. Then we blame them and react by sending emotional poison with our word. That is why whenever we make assumptions, we're asking for problems. We make assumptions, we misunderstand, we take it personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. All the sadness and drama you have lived in your life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. Take a moment to consider the truth of this statement. The whole world of control between humans is about making assumptions and taking things personally. Our whole dream of hell is based on that. We create a lot of emotional poison just by making assumptions and taking it personally, because usually we start gossiping about our assumptions. Remember, gossiping is the way we communicate to each other in the dream of hell and transfer poison to one another. Because we are afraid to ask for clarification, we make assumptions. We believe we are right about the assumptions, then we defend our assumptions and try to make someone else wrong. Wow, amazing. It is always better to ask questions than to make an assumption, because assumptions set us up for suffering. The big matote in the human mind creates a lot of chaos, which causes us to misinterpret everything and misunderstand everything. We only see what we want to see and hear what we want to hear. We don't perceive things the way they are. We have the habit of dreaming with no basis in reality. We literally dream things up in our imaginations because we don't understand something. We make assumptions about the meaning. And when the truth comes out, the bubble of our dream pops and we find out it was not what we thought it was at all. An example: you are walking in the mall and you see a person you like. The person turns to you and smiles and then walks away. You can make a lot of assumptions just because of this one experience. With these assumptions, you can create a whole fantasy, and you really want to believe this fantasy and make it real. The whole dream begins to form just from your assumptions, and you can believe, oh, this person really likes me. In your mind, a whole relationship begins from that. Maybe you even get married in this fantasy land, but the fantasy is in your mind, in your personal dream. Making assumptions in our relationships is really asking for problems. Often we make the assumption that our partner knows what we think and that we don't have to say what we want. I do that all the time, or at least I used to do that all the time with my wife. I figured she knew what I wanted, and so I'd get mad because she wouldn't give it to me or do what I wanted without me having to tell her. How the hell am I supposed to know what you want me to do if you don't tell me? You got to let me know what I'm doing wrong. Let me know what I'm doing right. We need to know that. Making assumptions in our relationship is really asking for problems. Often we make the assumption that our partners know what we think and that we don't have to say what we want. We assume they are going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and say, "You should have known." An example: you decide to get married and you make the assumption that your partner sees marriage the same way that you do. Then you live together and you find out this is not true. This creates a lot of conflict, but you still don't try to clarify your feelings about marriage. The husband comes home from work and the wife is mad, and the husband doesn't know why. Maybe it's because the wife made an assumption. Without telling him what she wants, she makes an assumption that he knows her so well, that he knows what she wants. As if he can read her mind. She gets so upset because he fails to meet her expectations. Making assumptions in a relationship leads to a lot of fights, a lot of difficulties, a lot of misunderstandings with people we supposedly love. In any kind of relationship, we can make the assumption that others know what we think and we don't have to say what we want. They are going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we want, what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and think, "How could you do that? You should know." Again, we make the assumption that the other person knows what we want. A whole drama is created because we make this assumption and then put more assumptions on top of it. It is very interesting how the human mind works. We have the need to justify everything, to explain and understand everything. In order to feel safe, we have millions of questions and need answers because there are so many things that the reasoning mind cannot explain. It is not important if the answer is correct, just the answer itself makes us feel safe. That is why we make assumptions. If others tell us something, we make assumptions. If they don't tell us something, we make assumptions to fulfill our need to know and to replace the need to communicate. Even if we hear something and we don't understand, we make assumptions about what it means and then believe the assumptions. We make all sorts of assumptions because we don't have the courage to ask questions. These assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously most of the time because we have agreements to communicate this way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We have agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want or how we feel. When we believe something, we assume we are right about it to the point that we will destroy relationships in order to defend our position. Sorry, son, I know you didn't want me. Okay, so, here we go. Example again. Julian, did you know that I wanted the dishes done all the way last night when I asked you to clean up? No, Dad, I didn't. No, but I assumed that you knew that. Well, I didn't, Dad. Well, you should. There's a whole fight started right there over one little thing. Because I assumed that you already knew, hey, Dad said please clean up after dinner. So he meant the whole thing. You know what I mean? I'm just going on the book, not because he didn't get all the dishes done. But he did get it all cleaned up last night. I'm not giving him a hard time, trust me, people. But I do that all the time with these guys. I do it with Julian all the time. You know, wake up in the morning, got some clothes on the couch from last night. I assume that he knows maybe he should fold that laundry before I get up. It's not his job. So why should he have to do it? Why should I even assume that he should have to do it? Because then when I come out and I start doing it, and he walks over and he starts helping me, then unfortunately I'm the dickhead that goes, I don't need your help now. Go on. Do what the fuck you want to do. You know? So let's stop assuming everything, people. Let's start talking to our family. Let's start talking to our friends. Let's make sure that we know what they really want and what they really mean when they say something. Okay? Let's create a peace and harmony, man. Let's stop having strife and conflict. Okay. If others tell us something, we make assumptions, and if they don't tell us something, we make assumptions to fulfill our need to know and replace the need to communicate. Even if we hear something and we don't understand, we make assumptions about what it means and then believe the assumptions. We all make assumptions before we don't have the courage to ask questions. These assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously, most of the time, because we have agreements to communicate this way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We have agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want or how we feel. When we believe something, we assume we are right about it to the point that we will destroy relationships in order to defend our position. We make the assumption that everyone sees life the way we do. We assume that others think the way we think, feel the way we feel, and judge the way we judge, and abuse the way we abuse. This is the biggest assumption that humans make, and this is why we have a fear of being ourselves and around others. Because we think everyone else will judge us, victimize us, abuse us, and blame us, as we do ourselves. So even before others have a chance to reject us, we have already rejected ourselves. That is the way the human mind works. Sorry, folks. I feel like I got something on my nose there. Not a bully. It's a hair sticking up from my mustache. Mustache is annoying me today. We also make assumptions about ourselves, and this creates a lot of inner conflicts. I think I am able to do this. You make this assumption, for instance, then you discover you aren't able to do it. You overestimate or underestimate yourself because you haven't taken the time to ask yourself questions to answer them. Perhaps you need to gather more facts about a particular situation, or maybe you need to stop lying to yourself about what you truly want. I have to excuse me, this is really funny. All right, folks, that's just so annoying. And you know what else is annoying? Is me sitting here. Long chair. Being uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Now we're here. Now we're comfortable. My nose is itching as bad now. Thank God. Let's get on with this, man. I'm about 37% on my filming for YouTube. That's why I love Facebook Live, man. There's no time limit. There's no posting upload time. No, it's just done, you know. Anyway, let's get on with this. Often when you go into a relationship with someone you like, you have to justify why you like that person. You only see what you want to see, and you deny the things you don't like about that person. You lie to yourself just to make yourself right. Then you make assumptions, and one of the assumptions is, my love will change this person. But this is not true. Your love will not change anybody. If others change, it's because they want to change, not because you can change them. Then something happens between the two of you, and you get hurt. Suddenly you see what you didn't want to see before, only now it is amplified by your emotional poison. Now you have to justify your emotional pain and blame them for your choices. We don't need to justify love. It is there or not there. Real love is accepting other people the way they are and without trying to change them. If we try to change them, This means we don't really like them. So stop trying to change each other, people. Be yourselves. We don't need to justify love. Real love is accepting other people the way they are without trying to change them. We try to change them, this means we don't really like them. Of course, if you decide to live with somebody, if you make that agreement, it is always better to make that agreement with someone who is exactly the way you want him or her to be. Find someone whom you don't have to change at all. It is much easier to find someone who is already the way you want him or her to be instead of trying to change that person. Also, that person must love you just the way you are, so he or she doesn't have to change you at all. If others feel they have to change you, that means they really don't love you just the way you are. So why be with someone if you're not the way he or she wants you to be? I tell this to my friends all the time. You know, used to be a big old pot smoker, and I used to tell my wife years and years ago, you know what, you're going to accept me the way I am, or you don't accept me at all. I want to smoke pot. You know what? And you know what she said? Honey, I don't do drugs. I don't smoke pot, but do whatever you want. As long as it keeps you sane, as long as you don't get in trouble, as long as you don't get locked up for it, babe. You know? So, 10 years later, we're still married. 20 years later, we're still together. You know? Something must be right here. The wife has not tried to change me. Now, along the way, me growing up, that has changed me. I don't sit here and burn bowls of weed anymore. I don't sit here and smoke joints of weed anymore. I do medicate in different ways. Nobody's business. But other than that, you know what? I've grown up. I'm a 45-year-old man, going to be 46 this year. My wife accepted me how I am the day that she met me. I accepted my wife the way she was the day that I met her. And when my point to this whole thing we're saying right now, we've made it a very, very long time. We're still together. We're going to be together forever and all eternity. That is my wife. I am her husband. We've always been meant to be together. She's been there in my good times. She's been there in my bad times. I've been there the same for her. We got kids together. We got a house together. We got a life together. You know, she knows my friends. She knows the people that I've associated with in the past, and she doesn't judge that, man. It's amazing. You know, I got friends that come along all the time throughout our lives, or acquaintances, should I say, because by the end they end up not being friends. Unfortunately, it seems like. Let's say, well, I wish we could be like you, Kenneth and Danelle. I wish our relationship was like yours. I wish we could learn to get along like you. And we try to kind of just give them advice on what we do and how we live. And the biggest one was not to try to change the person you're with. Love them for who they are, not for who they're not. Okay, that's the biggest thing. Love your person for who they are, not for who they're not. Don't change them. All right, back to the book now. Since I got to drink my Coca-Cola, you know, Coke and a smile, Coke and a smile. Sorry, that's me just trying to be funny with my advertising. Okay, anyway, I'm getting text messages all on the phone, man. You know what? I'm sorry, guys, if I can't answer you back. I'm sorry if it's important. I am using my phone for videoing on YouTube, and I'm using my tablet for my Facebook Live. So anyway, I'm going to go on here because we have about 3-4 pages to go before we're done with this chapter, and we can move on with our lives the rest of the day. Okay. Let's see. We have to be what we are, so we don't have to present a false image. If you love me the way I am, okay, take me. If you don't love me the way I am, okay, bye-bye. Find someone else. It may sound harsh, but this kind of communication means the personal agreements we make with each other are clear and impeccable. How you doing, Daniel? Good to see you, buddy. Will no longer suffer from conflicts created by mistaken assumptions. The way to keep yourself from making assumptions is to ask questions. Make sure the communication is clear. If you don't understand, ask. Have the courage to ask questions until you are clear as you can be. And even then, do not assume you know all there is to know about a given situation. Once you hear the answer, you will not make assumptions because you will know the truth. Also, find your voice to ask for what you want. Everybody has the right to tell you yes or no, but you always have the right to ask. Likewise, everybody has a right to ask you, and you have the right to say yes or no. If you don't understand something, it is better for you to ask and to be clear instead of making an assumption. The day you stop making assumptions, you will communicate cleanly and clearly, free of emotional poison. Without making assumptions, your word becomes impeccable. With clear communication, all of your relationships will change, not only with your partner, but with everyone else. You won't need to make assumptions. You won't need to make assumptions because everything becomes clear. This is what you want. If we communicate in this way, our word becomes impeccable. If all humans could communicate in this way with impeccability of the word, there would be no wars, no violence, no misunderstandings. All human problems would be resolved if we could just have good, clear communication. Then this is the third agreement. Don't make assumptions. Just saying this sounds easy, but I understand that it is difficult to do. It is difficult because we often do exactly the opposite. We have all these habits and routines that we are not even aware of. Become aware of these habits and understand the importance of this agreement is the first step. But understanding its importance is not enough. Information or an idea is merely the seed in your mind. What we really make the difference is action. Taking the action over and over again strengthens your will, nurtures the seed, and establishes a solid foundation for the new habit to grow life. After many repetitions, these new agreements will become second nature, and you will see how the magic of your word transforms you from a black magician into a white magician. A white magician uses the word for creation, giving, sharing, and loving. By making this one agreement a habit, your whole life will be completely transformed. When you transform your whole dream, magic just happens in your life. What you need comes to you easily because Spirit moves freely through you. This is the mastery of intent, the mastery of the Spirit, the mastery of love, the mastery of gratitude, and the mastery of the biggest, life. Life. This is the goal of the Toltec. This is the path to personal freedom, to my personal freedom, to your personal freedom. Together, we can do this. Tomorrow is chapter 5, the fourth agreement. Always do your best. That wraps it up for today on that agreement. That agreement is a big one. Cut out on us there again for a second. I don't know what happened. Maybe I lost my internet for a sec. But that is a big one. Don't make assumptions, and don't think that people already know what you want them to do with those assumptions, and don't try to change people for what you want or what makes you happy. Love people for who they are. Don't try to change everybody, man. You know, be yourself. Be honest with people. You know, I know that honesty can only go so far in society and with public, with your personal life and with public. I understand that, but within your lives of your family, within the lives of your friends, within the lives of people that you care about,